Jay-Z just got named in a civil lawsuit connected to the Diddy scandal, and the internet is losing its mind right now. We're talking about allegations from 2000 that just surfaced in an amended complaint, and the reaction is absolutely explosive. You're seeing this, right? One of hip-hop's most untouchable moguls is facing questions that have the entire culture re-examining everything about his past, his empire, and his decades-long ties to Diddy. Jay-Z's legal team came out swinging, calling this a shakedown attempt, but that's not stopping Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok from going into full investigation mode. The timing, the connections, the silence from certain people, it's all adding up to something that has everyone from casual fans to industry insiders asking questions they never thought they'd ask about Sean Carter. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and smash the like. You won't want to miss what comes next. So here's what just happened that has the entire internet spiraling right now. An amended civil lawsuit that's part of the massive legal storm surrounding Sean Diddy Combs just dropped Jay-Z's name into allegations connected to an incident allegedly from 2000. We're talking about a civil complaint, not criminal charges. That's critical to understand. But the nature of these allegations is serious, involving claims about a minor, and the internet is not letting this slide quietly. The lawsuit was amended recently, meaning Jay-Z's name wasn't in the original filing, but now it is, and that timing alone has people asking 1,000 questions. Jay-Z's legal response was immediate and aggressive. His attorneys released a statement calling the allegations heinous and false, characterizing the entire situation as a blackmail attempt, and demanding the accuser's identity be revealed or the case dismissed. They're not playing defense here. They're going on full attack mode, which tells you how seriously they're taking the reputational threat. But here's where it gets complicated. Even with that strong denial, the internet has already started connecting dots, pulling up old interviews, analyzing business relationships, and re-examining the entire Jay-Z and Diddy friendship that spans literally decades. Within hours of this news breaking, social media exploded. We're talking trending topics across multiple platforms, millions of tweets, think pieces being written in real time, and a level of scrutiny on Jay-Z that we haven't seen since, honestly, maybe ever. The Beehive is in defense mode, hip-hop Twitter is divided down the middle, and cultural commentators are suddenly recontextualizing everything, from Big Pimpin' lyrics to business deals to who was in what room at what party 20-plus years ago. What makes this even more intense is the broader context. This isn't happening in a vacuum. Diddy is facing his own massive legal battle with multiple accusers and serious federal implications. New York's look-back window laws have opened the door for civil cases involving older allegations, which is literally why we're seeing cases from 2000 being filed in 2024 and 2025. And the entire music industry is under a microscope right now regarding accountability, power dynamics, and what was happening behind closed doors during hip-hop's most commercially explosive era. As of right now, this moment, Jay-Z has not been criminally charged with anything. This is a civil matter, which operates on different standards of proof and different legal mechanisms. But the court of public opinion, that's already in session, and the verdict is coming in hot on both sides. Let's break down exactly what we know, what's been alleged, and what the actual receipts are, because there's a lot of noise and we need to separate fact from speculation. The primary evidence here is the amended civil lawsuit itself. According to multiple reports from outlets like TMZ, Complex, and legal documents circulating online, the plaintiff, identified in legal filings as Jane Doe, amended her existing lawsuit against Diddy to now include Jay-Z as a defendant. The allegations claim that at an MTV Video Music Awards after-party in 2000, when the accuser was reportedly 13 years old, she was allegedly assaulted. The lawsuit alleges both Diddy and Jay-Z were involved, with another unnamed female celebrity also allegedly present in the room. These are the claims being made in the legal filing. They are allegations, not proven facts, and Jay-Z's team has denied them entirely. Jay-Z's legal response was immediate and aggressive. His attorneys released a statement calling the allegations heinous and false, characterizing the entire situation as a blackmail attempt and demanding the accuser's identity be revealed or the case dismissed. They're not playing defense here. They're going on full attack mode, which tells you how seriously they're taking the reputational threat. But here's where it gets complicated. Even with that strong denial, the internet has already started connecting dots, pulling up old interviews, analyzing business relationships, and re-examining the entire Jay-Z and Diddy friendship that spans literally decades. Within hours of this news breaking, social media exploded. We're talking trending topics across multiple platforms, millions of tweets, think pieces being written in real time, and a level of scrutiny on Jay-Z that we haven't seen since, honestly, maybe ever. The Beehive is in defense mode, hip-hop Twitter is divided down the middle, and cultural commentators are suddenly recontextualizing everything, from Big Pimpin' lyrics to business deals to who was in what room at what party 20-plus years ago. What makes this even more intense is the broader context. This isn't happening in a vacuum. Diddy is facing his own massive legal battle with multiple accusers and serious federal implications. New York's look-back window laws have opened the door for civil cases involving older allegations, which is literally why we're seeing cases from 2000 being filed in 2024 and 2025. And the entire music industry is under a microscope right now regarding accountability, power dynamics, and what was happening behind closed doors during hip-hop's most commercially explosive era. As of right now, this moment, Jay-Z has not been criminally charged with anything. This is a civil matter, which operates on different standards of proof and different legal mechanisms. But the court of public opinion, that's already in session, and the verdict is coming in hot on both sides. What's also critical here? There are no criminal charges. This is a civil lawsuit, which means the standard of proof is preponderance of evidence, more likely than not beyond a reasonable doubt, like in criminal court. Civil cases can be settled for money without any admission of guilt, which is why Jay-Z's aggressive denial and refusal to settle quietly is so notable. He's not taking the typical celebrity route of pay to make it go away, at least not publicly. As of right now, Beyoncé has not made any public statement, and that silence is deafening to fans and critics alike. The Beehive has gone into full protection mode on social media, trending hashtags in support of Jay-Z and pointing out that allegations are not convictions. Some fans are highlighting Jay-Z's philanthropic work, his decades of marriage to Beyoncé, and his reputation as a businessman who's been largely controversy-free compared to other moguls. But there's also a segment of the internet pointing out that powerful people often have the resources to keep controversies quiet, and that silence from partners doesn't mean innocence, it might mean legal strategy. Other major figures in hip-hop have been largely quiet. No major cosigns, no public defenses from longtime collaborators like Kanye West, who's obviously had his own Jay-Z beef, Nas, or even Rock Nation artists. That silence could mean a lot of things: legal advice to stay out of it, personal uncertainty, or just not wanting to get dragged into a situation that's this radioactive. The industry knows that defending someone in this moment, if more comes out later, could be career suicide. On social media, the response has been explosive but divided. Twitter is a war zone between people saying believe accusers and people saying innocent until proven guilty. Hashtags like Jay-Z, Diddy scandal, and various combinations of those terms have trended multiple times since the news broke. Viral tweets range from legal analysts breaking down what the lawsuit actually means to cultural critics examining hip-hop's history with misogyny and accountability, to conspiracy theorists connecting this to everything from Illuminati theories to industry power plays. Some of the most liked tweets include comments like, "Y'all not about to do to Jay-Z what you did to other black men with allegations that can't be proven," and "If this was anyone else, y'all would be demanding accountability. Don't switch up because it's Hove." That divide is intense, and it's revealing deeper cultural tensions about race, power, celebrity, and how we process allegations in the Me Too era. Media coverage has been widespread, but notably careful. Major outlets like CNN, Billboard, Rolling Stone, Complex, and The Shade Room have all covered the story, but most are leading with allegations and lawsuit claims language, not stating anything as fact. Legal experts on cable news and podcasts have been explaining the difference between civil and criminal cases, what burden of proof exists, and what Jay-Z's aggressive legal response might indicate about his strategy. The unexpected angle? Some people are bringing up Jay-Z's own past lyrics and public persona. Lines from songs like Big Pimpin', his admitted past as a drug dealer, his references to street life. Lyrics that were once celebrated as authentic storytelling are now being re-examined by some as potential evidence of a problematic worldview. That's a wild shift, because hip-hop has always had space for artists to rap about their past without it being used as character evidence. But in this climate, everything is being reevaluated. To understand why this moment is so explosive, you need to understand the full context of Jay-Z and Diddy's relationship, the era this allegedly happened in, and the legal landscape that's making these cases possible now. The complete timeline. Jay-Z and Diddy came up in the same era of hip-hop, the late 90s and early 2000s, when Bad Boy Records and Rockefeller Records were both dominating. They were peers, collaborators, and by many accounts, friends who attended the same industry events, same parties, same award shows. The 2000 MTV VMAs specifically was a massive cultural moment. This was the era of peak TRL, peak Diddy visibility, peak Bad Boy. If you were a mogul in hip-hop in 2000, you were absolutely at those VMAs and the after-parties. That's not guilt by association, that's just context for how intertwined these worlds were. Over the following 2 decades, both men built empires. Diddy with Bad Boy, Sean John, Ciroc, Revolt TV. Jay-Z with Roc Nation, Tidal, his ownership stakes in various companies, his billionaire status. They were photographed together countless times, praised each other in interviews, and represented a generation of hip-hop moguls who made it beyond just music. That shared history is now under a microscope, with people asking, what did they know about each other? What did they witness? What was normalized in that era that shouldn't have been? The hidden connections. What's resurfacing now are old interviews where both Jay-Z and Diddy talked openly about the party culture of that era. Diddy was famous for his extravagant parties, white parties in the Hamptons, album release events, award show after-parties that were legendary in the industry. At the time, those parties were seen as aspirational, exclusive, the place to be. But in light of Diddy's current legal troubles, which involve allegations from multiple accusers about what allegedly happened at some of those parties, people are re-watching old footage and reading old quotes with completely different eyes. Jay-Z's presence at those events, which again was completely normal for an artist of his status, is now being analyzed as potentially more significant. There's also the business connection through Roc Nation and Bad Boy, various collaborations over the years, and shared industry relationships. None of this proves anything about the current allegations, but it establishes that these weren't distant acquaintances. These were people who moved in the same circles at the exact time these alleged incidents are claimed to have occurred. The money and business angle. Jay-Z is a billionaire with a brand empire that includes everything from cognac to Douce to sports management at Roc Nation to entertainment ventures. A scandal like this, even if ultimately disproven, can have massive financial implications. Brand partnerships could be paused or terminated, business deals could be affected. His reputation as a family man married to Beyoncé, one of the most carefully cultivated public images in entertainment, is now at threat. That's why his legal team is fighting so aggressively. This isn't just about a legal case, it's about protecting a multi-billion-dollar empire built on a specific public image. For context, when similar allegations have surfaced against other major figures, we've seen endorsement deals disappear overnight, projects get shelved, and financial valuations of their companies drop. Jay-Z's team knows this, which is why they're going scorched earth on the legal strategy rather than trying to settle quietly. On the psychological and personal stakes, on a human level, regardless of fame and money, allegations like this are devastating to families. Jay-Z and Beyoncé have 3 children. They've built a public narrative of a strong marriage that's weathered infidelity, which Jay-Z addressed on 4.44. This is a completely different level of allegation, and the personal toll on him, on Beyoncé, on their kids as they get older is real, even if the allegations ultimately prove false. There's also the reputation legacy piece. Jay-Z has spent decades building a reputation as a savvy businessman, a devoted husband post 4.44, a philanthropist through his Sean Carter Foundation, and a cultural icon who grew up from his street past into a respected elder statesman of hip-hop. Allegations like this threaten to rewrite that entire narrative, fairly or not, and that's why the public battle is so fierce.
Let's break down the perspectives honestly, because this is complex, and the truth matters more than hot takes. Team Jay-Z perspective. Look, the man has been in the public eye for nearly 30 years, building businesses, raising a family, and being subjected to more scrutiny than almost any artist in hip-hop history. If there was credible evidence of something this serious, why are we only hearing about it now through a civil lawsuit amendment decades later with no criminal investigation? Jay-Z's attorneys are arguing this is an extortion attempt by a lawyer, Tony Busby, who's made a name representing Diddy accusers, and might be trying to extract settlement money by adding the biggest name possible to maximize pressure. The fact that Jay-Z is demanding the accuser be identified or the case dismissed shows he's willing to fight this publicly, which suggests confidence in his innocence. Settlements happen all the time just to make things go away, but he's not doing that. He's fighting, which supporters say indicates he has nothing to hide. Also, let's be real. Powerful black men in America have been falsely accused throughout history, and the presumption of innocence matters, especially when no criminal charges exist and the evidence hasn't been tested in court. Team accountability perspective. Here's the thing, though. Civil lawsuits exist because criminal cases are incredibly hard to win, especially decades later when physical evidence is gone and it's one person's word against another's. The fact that this is a civil case doesn't make the allegations less serious or less worthy of being heard. Survivors of assault often take years or decades to come forward because of trauma, shame, power dynamics, or fear of not being believed, especially when the accused is someone as powerful and wealthy as Jay-Z, who can afford the best legal team in the world. The look-back window laws were specifically created to give survivors a legal path who were previously blocked by statutes of limitations, so using those laws shouldn't be seen as suspicious in itself. And let's not ignore that Diddy is facing multiple allegations from different people spanning different years. This isn't coming out of nowhere. There's a broader pattern of industry behavior being exposed right now, and dismissing this as a cash grab without letting it play out in court could be silencing a real survivor. Neutral or objective analysis. Here's what we know for certain. A civil lawsuit has been filed with specific allegations. Jay-Z has categorically denied those allegations and is fighting them aggressively. No criminal charges have been filed. The allegations involve an incident allegedly from 2000, which means physical evidence is likely non-existent, and this will come down to credibility, witness testimony, and whatever documentation exists from that time period. The legal process will determine the validity of the claims, but that process takes time, potentially years. In the meantime, Jay-Z's reputation is undeniably impacted regardless of the ultimate outcome. That's the reality of high-profile allegations in the internet age. The court of public opinion moves faster than actual courts, and reputational damage can happen long before a verdict. What complicates this further is the broader Diddy scandal context. If Diddy's legal situation results in convictions or credible patterns of behavior being established, that could indirectly affect how people view anyone closely associated with him during that era. But association is not guilt, and each case has to be evaluated on its own evidence. Cultural and social context. This moment is happening during a broader cultural reckoning about power, accountability, and what was tolerated or ignored in the music industry for decades. We've seen this in other industries: Hollywood with Weinstein, media with various figures, tech with various CEOs. The music industry, and hip-hop specifically, has been slower to have this reckoning, but it's clearly happening now. Whether Jay-Z's case specifically is part of that necessary accountability or an unfortunate false accusation is what the legal process will determine. But the cultural conversation about what needs to change in the industry is long overdue regardless. So, where does this go from here? Based on how these high-profile cases typically play out, here's what I expect. Immediate next moves. Jay-Z's legal team is going to fight hard to get this case dismissed or to force the accuser to reveal her identity. Expect more aggressive legal filings in the coming weeks, potentially motions to dismiss based on lack of evidence or statute of limitations arguments, though the look-back window laws may block that. If the case isn't dismissed, we're likely looking at a discovery phase where both sides gather evidence, take depositions, and build their cases. That process can take months or even years. In the meantime, expect Jay-Z to maintain public silence while his lawyers do the talking. That's standard crisis management for someone of his profile. I also wouldn't be surprised if we see other people coming forward, either in support of Jay-Z or with additional allegations. That's the pattern we've seen in other high-profile cases. One person coming forward often emboldens others, whether they're supporting the accused or the accuser. Short-term consequences. Jay-Z's brand partnerships and business ventures will be watching this closely. I don't expect immediate mass exodus of partners, because he's innocent until proven guilty, and the case is just beginning. But if damaging evidence emerges during discovery, that calculus could change fast. Rock Nation artists might be asked about this in interviews, which will be uncomfortable for everyone. Beyoncé will likely continue to remain silent publicly, but her next move, whether that's standing visibly with Jay-Z or maintaining distance, will be analyzed to death. The hip-hop community will likely remain divided and mostly quiet publicly. No one wants to be the person who defended someone if more comes out, but also no one wants to pile on based solely on allegations. Expect a lot of "I'm praying for everyone involved" type non-statements. Long-term impact. If Jay-Z is ultimately cleared, either through case dismissal or winning at trial, he'll have survived one of the biggest reputation threats of his career. But the stain of the allegations may never fully disappear in the internet age. If the case goes poorly for him, either through settlement, which could be seen as admission even if it's not, or losing at trial, we're talking about potential legacy-altering consequences. His billionaire status might protect his finances, but his cultural legacy as a hip-hop icon could be permanently complicated. For the broader industry, this could accelerate the accountability conversation in hip-hop. More survivors might feel empowered to come forward. More journalists might investigate industry practices from that era. More power structures might be questioned. Wildcards and unexpected factors. What if evidence emerges that clearly proves Jay-Z's innocence, like documentation that he wasn't even at the specific event in question? That would flip the entire narrative and potentially expose the lawsuit as baseless, which would be a massive vindication. Or what if discovery uncovers witnesses or evidence that supports the allegations? That would be devastating and could trigger a cascade of additional revelations.
We don't know what other information might come out related to the broader Diddy case that could indirectly involve Jay-Z or other figures from that era. This situation is fluid, and we're likely only seeing the beginning. Here's what I think is really happening here, and what everyone's missing in the noise. What everyone's missing is this isn't just about Jay-Z or Diddy as individuals. This is about an entire era of the music industry being put on trial. The late 90s and early 2000s were the peak of a certain type of hip-hop excess that was celebrated at the time. The parties, the wealth, the women, the power. That lifestyle was in the music videos, the magazine covers, the award show speeches. It was aspirational. But what we're seeing now is a cultural reassessment of what that excess actually looked like for the people who weren't the moguls, the young women at those parties, the people without power in those rooms, the ones whose stories weren't being told. Whether this specific allegation against Jay-Z is true or not, the bigger truth is that the industry allowed environments where abuse could happen, and we're now reckoning with that reality. So, who's really right or really wrong? Look, I can't tell you whether Jay-Z is guilty or innocent of this specific allegation. That's literally what courts are for. What I can tell you is that the process matters. The accuser deserves to have her claims heard and evaluated by the legal system. Jay-Z deserves the presumption of innocence and a fair process to defend himself. Both of those things can be true simultaneously. What bothers me most about how this is playing out online is the immediate rush to judgment on both sides. People either instantly believing or instantly dismissing based on their existing feelings about Jay-Z, not on evidence. That's not justice, that's tribalism. But here's where I'll give my take. Jay-Z's aggressive legal bigger implications. What this reveals about celebrity culture is that no one is untouchable anymore. Jay-Z has been as close to untouchable as you can get in hip-hop. Billionaire, married to Beyoncé, respected businessman, cultural icon. If he can face this level of scrutiny and reputational threat, it sends a message to everyone in the industry that past behavior can catch up to you, no matter how much power and money you've accumulated. That's actually good for accountability, even if this specific case doesn't pan out. It also reveals how much the internet has changed the game. In 2000, an allegation like this might have been buried, settled quietly, or simply not believed. In 2025, it trends worldwide within hours, gets analyzed by millions of people, and becomes part of someone's permanent digital record, regardless of the outcome. That's powerful, but it's also dangerous because reputational damage happens at internet speed, while legal justice happens at court speed. Personal reflection. Honestly, I hope the truth comes out, whatever that truth is. If Jay-Z is innocent, I hope he's fully exonerated and the person who made false claims is held accountable. If the allegations are true, I hope the survivor gets justice and Jay-Z faces appropriate consequences. What I don't want is for this to become another situation where we never get real answers. It just settles quietly for money, and everyone's left speculating forever. The culture deserves clarity. Survivors deserve justice, and innocent people deserve exoneration. Let the legal process play out. Let the evidence be examined, and let's see where the truth actually lies. It also reveals how much the internet has changed the game. In 2000, an allegation like this might have been buried, settled quietly, or simply not believed. In 2025, it trends worldwide within hours, gets analyzed by millions of people, and becomes part of someone's permanent digital record regardless of the outcome. That's powerful, but it's also dangerous because reputational damage happens at internet speed, while legal justice happens at court speed. Personal reflection. Honestly, I hope the truth comes out, whatever that truth is. If Jay-Z is innocent, I hope he's fully exonerated and the person who made false claims is held accountable. If the allegations are true, I hope the survivor gets justice and Jay-Z faces appropriate consequences. What I don't want is for this to become another situation where we never get real answers. It just settles quietly for money and everyone's left speculating forever. The culture deserves clarity, survivors deserve justice, and innocent people deserve exoneration. Let the legal process play out, let the evidence be examined, and let's see where the truth actually lies. Thanks for watching Celeb Luxe. If you enjoyed uncovering the real story, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you never miss when we expose what everyone else is too scared to say. Ring that bell for notifications. And if you want more truth bombs like this, click on one of these videos next. Trust me, you'll want to see what we found.